We have seen the deep state organize itself well in advance to carry out the most colossal electoral fraud in history in order to ensure the defeat of the man who has strenuously opposed the establishment of the New World Order that is wanted by the children of darkness.
Wow. Wow. Greetings upon greetings upon greetings.
Greetings, everybody. Yeah, greetings. Yeah, let's make sure that you can... Are we centered? Hold on. I don't feel like we are. Yeah, I don't feel like we were. Okay. Now we're centered. As centered as that moment there. Guys, so I think what's interesting about what's happening in the media now, Dave, is the fact that they're not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah, you know, I mean, at this point, they've been letting us know in regards to what's been happening for a long time. And now it just comes down to regards to what are we, as the general population, are going to do about it.
A lot of us are going to do nothing because a lot of us still think this is a conspiracy theory. Oh. Everything that I've been talking about on our network for the last year, pretty much. It's been 11 months that we've been talking about this COVID, this Novid nonsense. And yeah, it's New World Order. Remember we talked about this like a while ago. This has been talked about years ago by people like David Icke. And they were saying, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I guess they're going to have to wait for more signs from the media.
Yes, from the mainstream media, the same people who are feeding you the nonsense that they're feeding you. But anyhow, guys, yes, welcome. It's beautiful today.
Yeah, very surprising for November.
Oh my gosh, I'm in flip-flops and a summer dress and I took a long walk this morning because it was so beautiful. I'm like, I think it's supposed to be like this for the next couple days. And I'm like, guys, get out there and enjoy. This is the last real vitamin D you are going to get.
Well, we just have to give thanks because what's to come seems to be very dreadful.
Let's talk about that. So, I guess maybe what I'll do is I'll start with the video and then we're going to talk about a few contradictions that I want you guys to pay attention to. But let's play this video and then talk about what's happening here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Are we going to live with this for a while? Yeah, I think the whole world's going to live with it for a while. at least until they come up with a vaccine.
Which means the premier is trying to save businesses from going bankrupt in the meantime. The new reality appears to be making it easier for them to stay open. Here is the new color-coded provincial response framework that will guide decisions going forward. Green is for areas which have low COVID cases. 25 regions fall in that zone from Waterloo to Windsor. Restrictions then increase to yellow, which Durham and Halton are now in, to orange to red, which is similar to a modified stage 2, followed by gray, which is a full lockdown.
This planning framework provides structure. It will help inform decisions.
Under the new guidelines, regions like Ottawa, Peel and York Region will be coming out of the red zone this Saturday and moving into orange. That means indoor dining and gyms can resume with restrictions. Last call will be at 9 p.m., for example. Toronto will come out of red a week later at the request of Mayor John Tory.
Yeah.
Oh, man. They've been playing with our lives for a long time, man. It's just comical right now.
The reason why I'm laughing, it's not comical though, but the reason I'm laughing,
it definitely is.
Guys, if you were watching that, so in the first clip, I made notice that this is the first time I've ever seen people stand up in their pyramid shape, mind you, in their pyramid shape, conspiracy theory, and not only they lined up in their pyramid shape, but they usually have like the person talking, because you can't talk with a mask on, is not wearing the mask, but everyone behind them in these governmental proceedings are wearing masks.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys noticed at the beginning of that clip, not one of them was wearing a mask. But then as the clip rolled on, all of a sudden they were wearing masks. Like, guys, seriously? So let's talk about the Ford government, what they're doing right now. So they've unveiled a new color-coded tiered system, the same one that I guess Ford said he wasn't going to use.
Yeah, that's the same one that Quebec was using. Same one that the military has used for countless and countless of years.
Contradictions, guys. They're just all over the place.
Oh boy.
So they're either going to be using it to impose and lift COVID-19 restrictions in Ontario. And under this new framework, indoor dining will soon return to bars and restaurants in the province's 4 hotspots. Now, before I go through their color code system, I would like for you to make sense of something for me, Dave. Okay? So if we've been watching the falling and rising of numbers, which everyone knows because they blast it on every mainstream, like CP24, CNN, we always know how many people are sick in this world. Always. So when the numbers went down in the summertime, they introduced mask wearing because they didn't want to, they wanted to slow the spread.
Right.
Okay? But the numbers were going down. Then, also knowing that flus can't be passed around in the summertime. But anyways, then the numbers are now, they're saying, going up. Don't you see it every day in Ontario? The numbers are going up. Oh my God, they closed things down before.
Yeah, every day is a new record number.
Every day there's a new record-breaking number, more than it was in March. Oh my God, terrible. But now they're opening restaurants and bars and gyms. So hold on. Can you make sense of this for me, please? Is this just more contradictions by the Ford government? I'm just asking questions because nothing here makes sense. I feel like they get up in the morning, they're like,
what trick are we going to play on our public today?
How can we
on
mess up
constituents?
How can we mess up people's lives today? How are we going to do it?
It's amazing.
Let's play some more tricks.
It's truly amazing, okay, so what's happening. I tell you, family, we've always said, to go ahead and pay attention to the signs, the lockstep procedures, which have been released years and years ago, which we went ahead and actually talked about it a couple months ago.
And then most recently,
the whistleblower
from the Liberal Party that came out and was like,
which Rebel News said this is total fake. But I don't know, man. I don't know what else to show you guys.
It was vaguely familiar to the lockstep program.
Vaguely. Jeez, man. We told you so. We just wait for that one to come up next.
So let's talk about this color-coded system. So there's 5 levels of the COVID-19 response framework, which applies to sector-specific cases. So number 1 is prevent, it's the green, and that's your standard measure. You have protect, which is yellow, which is your strengthened measure. So that's when they, I guess, considered level 2. So
sure.
I don't even know anymore.
Let's go for it.
Restrict, which is the orange, and that's the intermediate measure. So I guess intermediate means you can have bars and restaurants open now. Okay. Control red is stringent measures. I don't even know what falls under that. I don't. They just give the numbers and the measures. No idea what falls. They have, actually, I'm lying. On the website, they do have a little bit of a breakdown of it. Still doesn't make sense to me. Premier Doug Ford. Oh, sorry. And lockdown. So if they go into the gray, everybody, if it's gray,
You can't go to your mama's house.
you can't go nowhere. Okay. I think we'll hit gray
By the end of the year?
Christmas.
Christmas? Yeah. You heard it here first. Christmas.
I think Christmas-ish will hit gray.
There you
Like,
go.
no, guys, you can't see your family on Christmas Day. I'm sorry. You have to take the vaccine. I don't know if you heard Ford say at the very beginning, too, of that video. He's like, we can't really do much until we get a vaccine. Really? You can't do nothing?
Or you just continue to download the app.
Yeah, we can get
Right.
contact tracing. That's right. So this is going to fall place with the Ottawa Peel region and York region. I know I'm just being snooty today and it's unnecessary, but I just think this is ridiculous now, guys. And again, this whole election thing that's going on is completely taking us away from the fact that our lives are being played with. And I really believe that. Like, you guys are so caught up in the American drama. And yes, it's going to affect us in a way. I get why some people would be, but for most of us, we just don't like Trump. It's so stupid. You're not watching it for any real political reason. It's a lot of you just don't like Trump. They want to see Trump lose. Like, I was at one of my parents yesterday, and the child was like, yes, Trump is losing. You're 9. What do you even know about what's going on? You just heard that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, well, Trump, he's racist.
Oh, boy.
Where did you hear this from?
Yeah. You know what? He might just be. However.
Well, how do you know?
Right.
Why are you watching the
the
election numbers and you're 9?
Proof is in the pudding in regards to what has taken place. You know, the long-standing history that Biden and as well as Kamala. I think that's her name, right? Kamala?
Yeah,
right?
we said no. I said we're not talking about
Anyways,
the elections. It's distractions.
but
You see how it happened?
See?
You see how that happened? Distractions. Clear example. So for now, let's just say for all the good, this is the good thing about it. For at least our restaurant owners, bar owners, and gym owners, they might be able to salvage their business. Indoor capacity of 50 people. There's no strip clubs. How dare you?
Oh, boy.
Establishments have to close at 10 p.m. So there's already curfew on certain things starting to come in slowly. Liquor is sold only between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Hey, nice.
This week get liquor for 12 hours. You can get crunk. Does nothing for your immune system though, but you can get crunk from 9 to 9. No consumption of liquor between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. Says who? Says who? Really? I guess just since establishments though. And screening patrons. Everyone has to get that nice little penile gland zoop in the head.
Yeah, calcifier.
Yeah, so the latest framework comes on a day where the province recorded its highest ever COVID-19 count. Highest ever. This is the highest ever, and we're going to open restaurants and bars. I saw a post the other day. I think it was Grant, because Grant sends me this foolishness, and I just usually delete it. But Mayor John Tory was like, when you're sitting down to eat, that you're... It was Grant. You're only allowed to pull down... You can pull down your mask and take a bite, but then you have to put your mask back on.
So you can chew with
So you
the
can
mask
chew. You have to
over
chew with your
face?
mask on. Yeah, but you have to keep it on and then pull
And
it
then
down.
pull it down?
Completely ignoring the rules of masks, by the way. The fact that you're not supposed to touch your
Keep
mask
Keep touching. Go ahead. Keep touching.
because touching it allows you to spread germs. These are the idiotic things that people are taking in and want come look upon me because I'm not wearing a mask. Really? So on this whole thing about masks, I want to talk to some store owners because I feel, you know what? I understand this whole private property thing that, you're trespassing, all this foolishness. But it's like, I want you to understand the laws that you're pushing, okay? Like really get it. Because I don't think a lot of these people understand what this is actually doing to their business and the things that people can say.
Especially the no cash thing.
No
Anyways.
cash. Okay, so
No mask, no cash.
let's talk no mask, no cash. No cash, no mask? No mask, no cash?
There you go.
No what? Anyhow, so I want you guys to understand the mask exemptions. This is for my business owners, all of you. I want you to really listen to this section of this because it all falls in line with the foolishness that's going on. Whose phone is that?
Con foolishness. I like that.
Con foolishness?
Yes. It would be the next edition of the Webster's Dictionary.
Con foolishness.
There you go.
I'm telling you. So it's not limited to religion, creed, disability, breathing, headache, PTSD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, panic attack, panic disorder, autism, chronic sinus issues, claustrophobia, deaf and hard of hearing, postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression. I could go on, and I'm just adding all of these to say this. You are not allowed to ask somebody why they're not allowed to wear or they can't wear a mask. Because people aren't going to come up and be like, well, I'm suffering with postpartum depression. Who wants to disclose that? That's private, confidential medical information. Stop doing that, store owners. Stop this. If someone comes in there without a mask, don't offer them no goddamn mask. If they're not wearing a mask, it's because they don't want to wear a mask or they can't wear a mask. There's two of them. Some people just don't want to, and they have that right because we have rights. Talking about rights. Just so you know, if someone comes in like myself and you want to refuse me or tell me I have to wear a mask, violations can actually be reported to our local bylaw office. Violations of disability rights under the Canadian Human Rights Act or the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms can be reported to Provincial Human Rights Tribunal. You cannot force people to do things, especially when it comes to their health. I want to make sure this is clear because for those who want to wear masks, that's fine. If you have the ability to wear masks and you really want to do that, that's fine. But for those who are not able to, you cannot discriminate against us, okay? And you can, hold on, let me talk about the money part. Oh, yes. So businesses, I want you all to hear this. You can be liable to up to $35,000 in damages. I dare one of you to tell me to put on a mask again, please, so I can start taking name and information. $35,000, you know how many people, you know, it's money. Guy, I'll buy a house if I go around suing the amount of people who've told me I can't come in because I can't wear a mask. Per incident. So you and I walk in and then that's $35,000 for both of us. Best thing ever. Dare someone to tell me to wear a mask. Please.
You know, people can go ahead and find out more regarding their charter, human rights, and so on and so forth.
Please, guys.
Standupcanada.ca is an excellent website in regards to this whole thing regarding the emergency measures and how it violates, of course, our human rights here in this True North, strong and free.
Free to not wear a mask. It's not just about the mask, guys. It really, really is not just about... Oh, what is this? What did Grant just throw out?
Oh, yes.
I can't read it because I don't wear my glasses.
All right, so Peel's top doctor calls prohibition on all private household gatherings in Brampton, Caledon, and Mississauga. Sure, no problem. I'd like to see them go ahead and enforce that.
Prohibition?
You can't go, so they're telling me right now I can't go see my mother. I can't see my sister.
Oh, you can't see your family? Oh, my parents are in Halton. Never mind.
Right.
I can see them.
You'll be fine.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But you can't see your family,
That's what they're telling me. Huh?
I would love to see you guys enforce that. That would be cool. Anyhow, so when we come back, we're not going to be talking about the elections. We're going to be talking about some things that are just going on in the whole world. African diaspora.
In the world. Let's go ahead and let them know.
So next, we'll be talking about some injustices that have been served in certain ways. Some idiot people doing some idiot things, and then they're actually paying for the idiot things they have done.
Yeah, I love that word, restitution.
Restitution.
Yeah, man, I love that word there.
We'll talk about that on the next segment of A Better Tomorrow. See you guys soon.
21-year-old Holden Matthews is being held without bond tonight. Police say that his father, a St. Landry Parish Sheriff's deputy, broke down into tears when he learned it was his son accused of burning 3 black churches here to the ground.
Holden's father is an employee of mine, fine man. He was shocked and hurt, as any father would be.
The clue that led federal and state investigators to the deputy's son was a red gas can found at the 3rd fire on April 4th.
All stations, we have a church on fire.
Authorities traced that can to a local Walmart and say that receipts and surveillance videos show Matthews buying the tools he needed to start the fires. They say surveillance video shows him driving his father's gold pickup truck at each location. At the 2nd fire, here at Greater Union Baptist, he's seen coming back to watch as firefighters risk their lives.
We are better than this, and this is a reflection of one depraved individual.
On his Facebook page, police found that Matthews is a fan of black metal, a version of heavy metal where the bands are often anti-Christian and sometimes neo-Nazi.
We saw an immediate threat to public safety. We felt that other crimes were imminent.
The pastor at Mount Pleasant says the arrest is heaven sent.
I'm elated. I'm happy. I'm good. I think I'll be able to sleep tonight.
Authorities are still working to determine a motive, I know, Steve, but revealing the suspect's...
What? Wow.
The magic of live television. Or something like that, right?
This is the same man who, when I came in here, is like, oh, I'm ready. You are late. Central time, Simone. Welcome back, everybody. You can censor me. Trust me, the YouTube's been trying to do that, so it's okay. I'm not worried about that. So let's talk about this.
All right, so man who burns down 3 black Louisiana churches has now been sentenced to 25 years in prison.
Now that's a sentence. 25 years is a sentence.
Very much.
And he didn't take out anyone's eye. We'll talk about that later.
The high-profile case caused outrage in 2019 when Holden Matthews burned down all 3 churches over a 10-day span. The Department of Justice announced that 23-year-old Holden Matthews has been sentenced to 300 months or 25 years in prison for admitting to burning down 3 black churches in Louisiana last year. Matthews will also have 3 years of supervised release and has been ordered to pay restitution of... Get this, right? So $590,246 to St. Mary Baptist Church, $970,230.30 to Greater Union Baptist Church.
I have questions.
I'm not. Hold on, save it for later. All right, $1.1 million to Mount Pleasant Baptist Church. Listen, there's a thing I'm gonna have to really wrap my head around. He's now going in for 25 years. Right, he's going to have 3 years supervision when he gets out. When is the restitution kicking in? So anyways, Matthews is also the son of Landry Parish Sheriff Office Deputy Roy Matthews. According to WBNS, it was his father who turned him in.
He snitched on his son.
I would too. I'm lucky not get gunshot. Anyways. Right, he later said he was inspired by Varg Vikernes, the former neo-Nazi metal musician who was sentenced to 15 years in prison for setting fires at 3 Norway churches. Imagine that. 15 years for 3 churches in Norway, 25 for...
years in the States.
I guess you're hustling backwards, you. Anyways, Matthews pleaded guilty in February and admitted to burning down St. Mary Baptist Church in the town of Port Bar, or is it Barry? I'm not sure exactly. However, though, on March 26, 2019, Greater Union Baptist Church in the city of Ecclesiastes, I'm sorry if I butchered it, on April the 2nd, and Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, also in the same city. All right, the 23-year-old told prosecutors he did it in order to raise his profile with a local music community and even posted photos of the fires to his Facebook page.
You're never gonna get caught.
Oh wow.
This idiot I heard also went back. Like he burnt when people were trying to put out the fire, he went back and watched and was caught on camera. Idiot.
Oh wow.
Left the can that he was using with his fingerprint on it.
Oh wow.
Idiot.
And it's only 25 years. Huh, interesting. right? I mean, it's one thing to go in and set the churches on fire, but then to go back as an insult, or I like to say the proverbial salt in the wounds.
Well, yeah, it's the whole idea of that's what these people do. They like to remember. He said he wanted to be, he wanted to see it.
Raise his profile.
Raise that profile, man.
All right, so the attack followed reports from both the FBI and the Justice Department saying white supremacist terrorist acts were increasingly becoming the most important concern for authorities nationwide. Retired NFL player Benjamin Watson, who played for the New Orleans Saints for years, led efforts to contribute funding to help rebuild the churches. Right, fundraising efforts ended bringing in more than $2 million to rebuild the churches. Right, so good for Ben Watson. I'll definitely go ahead and lend his hand in rebuilding the churches.
There's a picture of who he is.
Right,
I looked him up this morning.
I'm sure, of course, with his NFL, retirement savings, that he can go ahead and fund it himself.
Him have money.
Yeah, of course.
But you know what? I appreciate when people do this, when they give back to their community.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Instead of just sitting on that money. Good for you, my brother.
Right.
Good for you.
There you go.
So I'm very curious, since we're talking about sentencing. I'm very curious as to, I'm sure there's some type of procedure or process into sentencing people. Like maybe they have like a chart or something that looks at
based on the crime.
Yeah, like there must be some type of the judge. I'm just saying, but then sometimes things don't make any sense. And so okay, so a lot of people, it's divided in the city of Toronto. If you're not from Toronto and hearing about the story right now or watching us, a young black man, I'm going to say melanated man. Let me say that. I prefer that. He was out with his friends one night, and apparently there's so many sides to the story. There's obviously the defendant's side, and then there's his side. But long story short, this young man ended up with a very lifelong damaging injury. He lost his eye, and the police officers, there's been a long back and forth thing with this, of course, like most court cases. So
they beat the man with a pipe. A
metal pipe. This is a teenager, by the way. So a Toronto police officer was convicted of assault in the brutal beating of a young black man or young melanated man, and he was sentenced to 9 months in jail on Thursday. So yesterday, a punishment the judge said takes into account the racialized context. This is what I Do you want to talk about this?
Oh, boy.
9 months takes on. That's justified. Okay, so Trewald, whatever, and his brother Christian was charged with aggravated assault and obstruction of justice in connection with the incident, which took place in Whitby, Ontario, about 45 minutes outside the city of Toronto. So prosecutors alleged during trial that the brothers beat Miller, who was 19 at the time, with a metal pipe, leaving him with a ruptured eye and, of course, other injuries. So this young man will never see again. This guy's getting 9 months. Not to talk about like some of the other things that he has to deal with, mental health and all that stuff, like some things that are going to last for his lifetime. And this guy gets 9 months. And then I think, what did he get? What else does he get? Anyways, so the defense presented a different account of the story. And instead of saying there's two sides to the story, they said that the brothers wanted to arrest Miller, even they were off duty.
Actually, this one right here, the bald one.
Yeah.
He's the only cop. The younger brother in the back, he'd actually helped the brother go ahead and beat up the youth.
Okay. And he got off by the one in the back?
The one in the back.
Got nothing.
All charges released.
All charges dropped against him.
Yeah.
So they caught him and his friends stealing from the family truck is what they said. So they alleged the pair feared for their lives after Miller confronted them with a pipe and acted in self-defense. They feared for their lives. Okay. While the Crown does not allege the assault was racially motivated, the racialized context in which the offense took place cannot be ignored. And this was said by the judge DeLuca when he delivered the sentence. So the offense committed in these circumstances undermines societal values of dignity and equality. It undermines the trust that the community, particularly the black community, places on police officers. It must be denounced in the clearest terms. He said that the punishment is also warranted given the facts of the case. DeLuca has sentenced this idiot to 12 months of probation following his jail term. So after so he gets 9 months and 12 months probation. That's what I was looking for. Along with a 5-year weapons prohibition. I don't even know. I don't know. There's a lot of, I don't know. So the prosecutors trying to see something for like 12 to 15 months. So that's not too far. Like they were searching for 12 for only like a year and a half, and they got 9. So I guess if you're looking at it like that, I guess that's fair. Because again, this is what the prosecutors were looking for. I don't know.
Can we call it fair?
I'm just saying,
he can't see out of his eye. He lost an eye.
I hear you, but I'm saying this is what the prosecutors
and
were going for.
That's who I'm talking to right now. The judge who said this is warranted, the defense attorney who said who said all of this. Like the two of them are complicit in regards to what has taken place. The evidence is there. The youth has no left eye. Plain and simple. It'd be different, right? If okay, fine, broke his jaw, the jaw gets mended, okay, whatever, right? But again, he lost an eye, right? And to only be sentenced for 9 months, and the judge is going to say the sentence is warranted. Where's the value in our lives?
Where's the value in our, that's the thing. It's like, but even again, I pull up this whole 12 to 15 months because I'm like, that's all you were going for this kid? That's what you were searching for, 12 to 15 months? So the Toronto Police Service says that this officer has also been suspended without pay. Well, you're in jail, so I don't know why they're trying to throw that in. Like that's
he'll be fine.
Like
his family would definitely be fine.
Yeah,
with that respect.
And the Toronto Police professionals.
How about the payment that was supposed to be received during that whole 9 months? How about you send it over there to the family, right? How about doing
that? But they would never do that.
Of course not.
They would never do that.
Yeah, he got hold it in the $1 billion budget.
You seem angry, Dave.
I'm not angry.
Okay.
Definitely not angry.
Concerned?
Far from it.
So this unit will resume its investigation. So the investigation isn't completely done. I don't know. I feel like this man needs more time. I feel like he needs to be, and I want them to put him in like the most melanated section of the prison. Put him there, please. That's what I would. Now that might 9 months in the most melanated section. He may not come up with any eye if he comes out. Just saying. Okay, so those are our thoughts on the Dafonte Miller case. And we didn't talk about the election. You guys noticed that. We stayed away from it again completely. We're doing well. We're not chasing that shiny squirrel because everyone wants to go down that route.
Everywhere's having elections right now. St. Kitts and Nevis had one. Ghana's preparing one for next month. There's other islands as well as preparing for those elections. So, we could see, of course, the plans are definitely rounding out to shape in regards to what our future is going to look like.
You mean like the New World Order?
There you go.
But that's a conspiracy theory, Dave.
Well, I guess it is.
Even though it was just announced, just by their own Fox News. Oh, Lord. So when we come back, I actually have it's really small, the fact about this whole lockdown thing in Ontario. They're saying that there's like 60% or over 50% of the businesses are agreeing with the lockdown. I don't know, but we'll talk about that really briefly. And then marijuana is legal, and some people's cases might get expunged.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll talk about it on A Better Tomorrow.
What we're looking at is the remodification of human behavior and human perception. That's what this is all about. If you look at what's happened, if people still can remember what it was like last January. Remember what it was like then, and now look what it's like now. Human society has been absolutely transformed. But what you do with each stage of the transformation is you get people used to it, used to it. We go on to the next one. And eventually, what would have been perceived in January as utter insanity, we'd never do that,
right,
it becomes part of life. I was contacted about 3 weeks ago by a lady I first met in 1996. Her name was Kathy O'Brien, or is Kathy O'Brien, and she was a survivor, is a survivor of the notorious American government, military, CIA mind control operation, which came to public attention in the 70s, called MK Ultra, and there was a massive Canadian involved as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, just want to make a point about masks. She said, when I was in MK Ultra, she was in an elite part of it called Project Monarch. So my daughter Kelly, I've also met, was born to wear a mask because it deleted her sense of individuality, which is what's happening on mask, and also it deprived her brain of oxygen.
I do. Obviously, there are many people concerned right now that if the numbers don't get under control in Ontario, in Toronto in particular, and Peel region, just in the neighboring region beside Toronto, that restaurants may be closed again as they were in the first phase. What would that mean for your business and the longevity of it?
Well, basically, Michael, we will struggle. We will struggle to keep the doors open. You know, at this point in time, I look in terms of just, again, keeping the doors open, keeping staff employed. It is worrisome because at one point, you just never know. We may hit that threshold where we may just have to close the doors.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering what you would like to see from governments. In this moment, what would you like them to help out businesses like yours? And if the Ontario government in particular has to go into a lockdown of restaurants once again and tells business owners like yourself, you have to close your doors, what do you want governments to do to make your life easier, to perhaps remove some of the worry that your business might not survive?
Well, that's a great question, Michael, because just review all the requirements for the rent subsidy. You know, I believe that, you know, if we get more assistance in the rental subsidy, then that can help us keep the doors open, you know, and also in the wage subsidy as well. As long as we keep those programs in order, intact, we may be able to make it through.
Mm-hmm. Do you worry about winter?
Of course, because now, you know, patio season is over. So, you know, a lot of customers will, you know, they love to sit outside. And if you don't have dine-in, where are they going to sit, right? So that.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to A Better Tomorrow. What do you think so far of the show, Dave?
Excellent.
I'm getting one word.
That's it.
Okay. So I showed this video just because I have a really small report that some things get sent to me, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't know where they're getting the stuff from. So the latest findings from the Business Monitor, which surveyed over 1,000 Canadian managers and executives. Now, when they said that right there, I was like, okay, so who were you surveying? Were you surveying like Walmart CEOs? You know what I'm saying? Like who were you talking to? And they show surprising support for tightening public restrictions. Is it because it's not affecting you at all? How about some of the small business? Because that gentleman seems like he was affected. Just saying. I guarantee they didn't include him in their 1,000 that they reviewed or whatever. So Canadian business leaders favor tightening public health restrictions over easing them by a 2-to-1 ratio. This level of support for tightening restrictions is remarkable given that the survey also shows fully 70% of Canadian businesses have been negatively affected by the COVID pandemic. So who are they getting these numbers from? So at almost 2/3, 64%, Ontario businesses are most strongly in favor of tightening restrictions, while Alberta is the only province with a plurality favoring to easing restrictions.
It's typical Edward Bernays right there, man. I tell you, you know, for those who don't know Ed Bernays, of course, he's supposedly the father
of public relations.
Sorry, propaganda, because...
Propaganda.
There you go, right?
He actually wrote a book called Propaganda. Y'all should read that book. It's very interesting.
So for them to go ahead and throw out numbers such as this right now, especially during this time when, number one, they're making a huge push for businesses to go on to take more loans from the government, right? The huge push for the wage subsidies. Right, which of course is another governmental program,
yes.
Right, which in the end of the day ends up leaving you in debt, if not owned outright
by the government.
By one central figure. Right? So, I mean, it's
New World Order?
There you go. Right? There you go. Whether it's Tories, whether it's the what's the other one there, the Orange Group there, was it New NDP? Regardless of what it is, right? I mean, it's all pretty much all the same stuff.
Same.
Right. So, anyways, we understand, I guess, where the people are right now. You know, especially a whole lot of business owners. You know, that's where you got to look at groups like the Line, who which we marched in their rally. You know, fighting for small businesses, telling small business owners is, hey, listen, you know what? You still have the right to go and feed your family, right? By opening and keep your business, because all businesses are essential, right? Especially with no compensation coming back from the government, outside, of course, their ownership program, right? So it's interesting.
Ontario, really? Just saying, you executives, really?
You know, and my fear is that, you know what, as much as, you know, the 1,000, you know, business owner executives, you know, were a lot less melanated.
Guaranteed.
Right. But my fear is that now, of course, a lot of us who are melanated now end up going into the same direction, where we're looking at, of course, the 200 and some odd million who are supposed to be unleashed by the government, and then, of course, the big five banks, you know, whether it's in the form of microloans and so on and so forth. You know, like, at the end of the day, we all understand, I guess, what's happening right now, right? And if we don't take a stand to go ahead and do something about it, you know, you're going to get swept by the wayside.
Well said, Dave. Well said. So there's some good stuff happening across the border.
Yes,
not the elections.
All herbalists.
Yeah, herbalists will be happy with this story.
Yeah, right. This past Tuesday, voters in 4 states passed laws legalizing recreational marijuana. Voters in New Jersey, South Dakota, Montana, and as well as Arizona approved ballot measures to legalize recreational use. Right. Oregon also became the first state to decriminalize possession of small amounts of heroin, cocaine, and
methamphetamines.
Something like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. This is incredible, said Cassandra Frederic, executive director of the advocacy group Drug Policy Alliance. This is like taking a sledgehammer to the cornerstone of the drug war.
That's right.
Right, which Biden was a part of.
No election stuff.
Bill Clinton was a part of.
Yeah, the ones that put through a lot of our people behind doors. Kamala was a part of. All the people were like, oh my God, yes, we love them.
Yes. In Arizona, voters decided on a 60-40 split. So 60, of course, in favor, 40 in, of course, opposition for the Proposition 207, which makes recreational marijuana legal for people aged 21 and over. Medical marijuana was legalized in the state in 2010. On November 30th, adults will be permitted to possess up to an ounce. There you go. All right, an ounce. All right, under the proposition, residents will also be able to transfer up to, of course, 1 ounce of cannabis as well. Adults can grow up to 6 plants in a home, and up to...
we only allowed 3?
Yeah.
Damn it. America always gets more. When they get more liquor, they get more ounces when they're in their drinks. Their shots are bigger. And they get more plants too.
Yeah,
garbage.
They also got bigger problems. Right?
Yes.
12 plants in a home with multiple adults. So it looks like the numbers are in favor for those who have a green thumb. Dispensaries are set to begin recreational sales on April 20th of 2021. July 12th, people with felony marijuana convictions, and this is the kicker right here, right, will be able to petition to have their records expunged if they have possessed 2.5 ounces or less of herb. Right, so I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people may not have a record anymore. Be dancing like,
Yeah, you know, just to think, you know, Canada was supposed to be such a progressive state, right? Has not even moved in this direction in regards to expunging. Right?
Yeah, because it'd be the prison doors would open up. That's why. Right. You know how many people are in there for weed charges?
Oh, then again, you know, I mean, it is big money, right? Keep people inside is big money.
Bigger money,
right? Just ask Bob Barker. All right, so in New Jersey, recreational marijuana passed by a vote of 67% to 33. The state also legalized medical marijuana in 2010, as we mentioned before. Residents in New Jersey will not be allowed to legally possess marijuana until the regulatory framework has been established, said Attorney General Gabriel S. Grewal. It's likely, it would likely be at least a year before people will be able to petition to have their records expunged for low-level cannabis offenses. But at least they're trending in
the right direction.
Yeah, especially since liquor stores are open still, and why go ahead and mess up your kidneys and livers? When...
I love. Like, I was having this talk the other day with a group of people about the weed and alcohol, and these people who consume way too much alcohol are like, oh, well, we don't smoke drugs. I'm like, oh, but you drink it. Liquor is worse. Liquor is a lot worse. I'm sorry, people, a lot worse than weed. So, but in Canada, it's open from 9 to 9. You can get liquor,
Soon they're going to be saying how, are people trading for one vice for another? But
that's exactly what it is. They're vices regardless.
Yeah, and I guess somebody got to make money at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So we got through it. We did kind of talk about the election a little bit because Dave brought up Biden and Clinton and Kamala. So we got slightly distracted, but it was to talk about a point, though.
No distractions.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to end on such a positive note. There's no way we can talk about the election. But do you know the counts are? Does anyone know? Who's won? Why is it taking so long to count? I understand. I feel like this is a Bush thing all over again. No. Are the counts done in Florida? Can someone let me know that? We'll see you guys soon on A Better Tomorrow. Are they done, though? Did they finish the ones in Florida?
I don't know. I don't follow it. So.
Okay. Sorry, guys. See you guys soon.
So essentially, I was one of the first primary care doctors in the country dealing with thousands of patients, literally thousands of patients infected with COVID. And, our resources were overwhelmed. Half my staff got sick. They closed the laboratories and the radiology places, and the hospitals were near capacity. So it was a disaster. In terms of globally, I've advised 7 governments: Brazil, Honduras, Ukraine, Russia. Yeah, there was a few others. And I've been in contact with Senator Ron Johnson, who's the head of chair of Homeland Security. I speak to him weekly. I've been in contact with the White House, and I've dealt with Mark Meadows, who's the president's chief of staff, even on the commissioner of the FDA. I published a
I want to talk about
murdered on national television in front of everybody.
Jogging in a white neighborhood, while her friend Renee Walters, an entrepreneur and founded the Freedom Georgia Initiative, a group of 19 families who collectively purchased exactly 96.71 acres of rural land in Toomsboro.
I like the name of the place, Toomsboro.
Right? A town of a few hundred people in central Georgia, with the intention of developing a self-contained, of course, African community. Yeah. That's exactly what they are. They're an African community. The space will have small homes for vacation use and will host weddings, retreats, and recreational functions, and may eventually evolve into incorporated, self-sustaining community. Right? It's now time for us to get our friends and family together and build for ourselves. Walters, who serves as the president of the organization. That's the only way we'll be safe. And that's the only way that this will work. We have to start bringing each other together,
yeah.
Right. So I mean, it's wonderful to see, and like I said, I hope it definitely garners more inspiration throughout the Americas. I know in Montreal, One Full Circle, big up to Farrell, who's out there leading the group. They're looking to go ahead and purchase some land out there. I know there's supposed to be a group in discussion here in the city that I'm just looking to actually go ahead and do the same thing. So it's time, definitely time.
So just to add to that, step the game up a little bit. After this father did this. Now I'm really curious as to what's behind why he did it, but I love the fact that he did it. So a father actually, his name is the gentleman gave his daughter Ashanti Shabazz. Sorry, his name is Ashanti Shabazz. So Ashanti Shabazz gave his daughter Ajala. My eyes are buddy. Wow.
You choose not to wear your spectacles.
I know, I should be wearing my glasses. Ajala, a brand new home. She turned 13, and this man, 13-year-olds, they're throwing 13-year-old birthday parties or bar mitzvahs or, all those different things that they do at 13.
Yeah.
This man said, bump all that. I'm buying my daughter a house. So he did it because he wanted to put her on a path of financial independence at an early age, which I think is brilliant. So today I gifted my daughter with a house for her 13th birthday. This was not random, it was planned. This is something that he wrote on his social media page. This marks the beginning of a family tradition where every Shabazz will be gifted a house on their 13th birthday and taught to build it into multiple properties before they get to be legal adults. That is so gangster. I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love that. I think that is beautiful, well executed, teaching these young ones from time about how to build wealth. Yeah. Not riches, wealth.
Yeah, for sure.
Classic. And we didn't talk about the election once.
There's another gentleman who actually gifted his 4 children an ATM business, right, throughout, in Americas, right? So, in each one of the children, actually, they have all a role to play in the business, whether it's, of course, the loading and preparation of course, the ATM machines, the accounting aspect, and so on and so forth, right? So, kudos to these families who are going out there and actually teaching their children from young that ownership.
About wealth, yes.
Ownership.
Beautiful. See? It's a little bit of a different show today. We only touched on COVID a little bit and the contradictions a little bit, but we still got to touch on that. And then we got to show a lot of the brilliant things that are happening around the world and how our people are really moving forward. And our shows are, again, they're not disorganized. They are very planned. What's happening right now in mainstream media, and I want to make sure I say this before we leave, it's meant to divide and conquer. Like Dave was saying before, a lot of these whether it's a lot of these elections that are happening, at the end of the day, they all report to a small group of people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what face they put on it. It's still, there's certain things that are being planned out for this whole world, and it doesn't matter who's the puppet for the moment. It's still gonna happen. So what I really want to focus on with Our Better Tomorrow is the fact that we as people, whether we do it, some people want to do it where they want to build on their own, like the 19 families. But I think we need to be focusing on people who are doing things together and not worrying about this divide. There's a lot of that happening, right? So we just want to show that people are actually working together in this world to do better things, right? That's the whole point of having a better tomorrow. So you guys are going to have a great tomorrow because tomorrow is supposed to be just as warm in Toronto, Ontario as it is today. So enjoy that. Be safe, guys. Be safe. If you're walking, you don't have to wear a mask outside. You can walk without one. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. If you choose to wear it indoors, that's one thing. But if you're outside in the fresh, breathe. Breathe in the air because in a few weeks, I'm going to say, we're not going to be able to go outside at all because it's going to be minus 28. Wish you went outside. So go breathe. Enjoy your weekend. Any last words, Dave?
Peace and love, family.
Peace and love, everybody. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Bye.